Hello YouTube and welcome back for another poker video. Today is a little special. I'm going to talk about my first $10,000 on poker. I'm going to go over every step of the way. And in the background, if you want to watch as well, on the third screen, we're going to make a final table and we'll feature some hands from some of the other tables too that I thought were interesting. But let's get into it. So basically, I started playing when I was 13. One of my friends showed me it. This website called Zynga Poker. And I didn't really play it that much because I was like young and didn't really understand it. But I understand like the hand rankings and all that. And like I would win chips sometimes, but I would usually just go broke. Didn't really play it that much. It's not very important, but it is because 10 years later, when I'm 21, I decided that I was bored. Like, I was playing random games after work, and I was getting bored of them all, and I was trying to think of old games that I could try out again. And I remembered Zynga Poker somehow, just randomly. I don't even know. And downloaded it, and I started playing it again, and it's pretty bad. I'd started by trying to run every single hand, basically. Didn't really... I did evolve my strategy pretty quick, starting with... I changed my strategy to where I would play every hand that had a jack or higher in it, was my new strategy pretty quickly. I started getting pretty good and studying and watching videos around this time. Watching big poker players, watching the big game and stuff like that. I don't even remember, but started watching a lot of legendary poker stuff. Really starting to learn, because I realized pretty quick that pros do not really limp. That was probably the next thing I changed to my strat. That was around when I really honestly, from then to now, my strategy hasn't changed a whole ton. I had to adjust to ignition, but that was when I started learning to raise and started getting good. And obviously I'm watching videos, so I know people are making money. And that's when I decided I'm gonna try to run it up to 100 billion on Zynga. I'm going to just play the frick out of it and get super good. And around later on down the road, after maybe a few months, started showing, some of my friends and stuff. And started hosting some games, live games actually. At first they were free, but slowly we did start playing little $5 cash games. And then it was $10 cash games. And it was 25, 50. Probably stopped at 50, but we would play pretty often, at least once or twice every few months, because we all liked playing. And pretty quickly I realized that I was a big winner. And in this period I made about 200. Sorry to my friends, but yeah, you have helped me out a lot, because that was when I really realized that I could make money for real. This ain't no dream anymore. I can actually make money. Around this time I actually went to the casino too, which was actually a very risky point of my career, because it's $300. My profit was $200. But I actually ended up turning about $100 profit at the first time I ever played live too, at a casino. And not too much later, I was finally convinced to make an account on Ignition. And that's when it really started. I started out with the cash games, because I don't know if any of you really ever played Zynga, but it's mainly cash games style of play. So that's what I started with. And I was running it up on the cash games on Zynga or on Ignition right away. I Okay, not right away. I did a $50 deposit, lost it. Did a $50 deposit, lost it. And then I did one more $50 deposit. And this was actually going to be my last deposit when I was going to give up. And that's when the tides turned. I was playing with all of my bankroll, but we ran it up to 600. We would just play 4 tables with all our money. So, $400 cash games. And my goal was just to get to 1-2. And then I was going to start playing a smart bankroll after that. Didn't work out though. Once we got to 600, we had a night where we were drinking and we hopped on and we got destroyed, tilted, lost it all down to $80. And that's when I was really kind of losing confidence because it was rough and I couldn't handle it that well. And I actually didn't play for a little bit. But until I started playing micro stakes tournaments. While I was playing cash games, I would throw a couple of those in once in a while. I didn't even really understand them or know much about them until I watched some WSOP main event footage, and I was like, yo, these are the same things on Ignition. I noticed that some of them were actually pretty cheap. So I would just, instead of playing the cash games all the time, I just started playing cheap tournaments. And really quickly, I was getting deep runs. Like, probably the first week, I made a final table. I don't want to say I remember it, but pretty sure I do. Pretty much is the Monster Stack Turbo, and it was like 4 or 5 left. And we ended up getting coolered, but we made it to the top 5. We were so proud of ourselves. Maybe the same week, we actually win the $100 guarantee, $1 buy-in. It's only $20, but it wasn't about the money. We proved that we could win a tournament. And that's when my confidence started coming back. I started playing them a little more. Maybe 2 weeks later, we get another nice win. We get first place in a $5 buy-in for like $160. Now our bankroll's back to almost 300. We are almost halfway. I mean, it took a few weeks, but we didn't have to risk, like hundreds of dollars. We just risked like $5 and $7 and $1, And then I actually found out, that was around the time when I actually found out about the satellites. And another deep run actually happened. This run was also super important. Because these runs are just important because they were the runs that made me got me where I'm at today. Because if they didn't happen, if I would have lost all these tournaments, I would not be here. But yeah, we did the satellite to the 40K with like $300 with a $300 bankroll. We won the satellite first try. I swear on everything. We enter this $50 tournament and we run like God. I run it up to 10th. But this was when I learned about so basically you gotta play at your stakes. So I was not ready, and I probably made the biggest mistake of my career possibly in that tournament because at 10 left, I was so mad at this dude for all-inning my big blind every single hand because I was literally like a chip leader. But this dude was all-inning my big blind every single hand so much that I was down to nothing almost. And I finally called it off with 7-8 or some shit. Something awful. Dude fucked me up, and it turned out that if I would have waited one more hand, we would have hit the final table because the final table had 8 people. And we still cashed for 250, I want to say. But yeah, we missed out on 7K. Could you imagine if I would have won that a month into my career? That would have been insane. But yeah, started studying, and this is basically where I became who I am now at this game. Not much later, I went on another heater in the Super Knockout back when it was a $10 buy-in. Just completely ran over the table. Literally, it was kind of like the Lucky Sevens run. Like, I'm talking, we'd had queens versus aces. We hit the queen. We had a hand where it was 7-8 versus aces, and we hit the 7-8. Like, just everything was hitting. $500. We got our bankroll now to 1K. And then, all right, I gotta make this quick, but basically, a few months down the road, I'm gonna just sum up the big cashes that got us here now because, yeah. All right, so yeah, a few months down the road, probably that winter. So like 6 months later was when the holiday series event happened, which was one of my first poker videos. Actually, yeah, my first poker video actually came out past once we hit the 1K bankroll after the SPKO. Right after that was when we made our first video. And then a few videos after that, you can see the next iconic win, the holiday series low roller, 1,000 people field. We ended up getting 6th for 560, and this was my biggest win for like a year. But this was another really important win because it really boosted my confidence. Let's see, what's after that, really? I mean, after that, it was just grinding. Like, grinding. I didn't get a new biggest win, actually, until a few months ago. Like, I want to say July. I got second in the minor niner for like 750. And then, yeah, basically, last August, our bankroll was 6K. And we hit 10K by October. So, exponential growth. Just keep going. Basically, I hope you guys learned something from this, but basically, yeah, if you just keep going, like you're gonna eventually win. I mean, if you're a good player. Took a while, but yeah, we got 10K. We're actually a little overdue for this video. We're actually at like 12K now. Even with the last 2 weeks of bad variance, I only lost like 500. But it still sucked because it's 2 weeks straight playing. Yeah, and now we're here. The whole grinding, like, the first main thing is you just gotta get good, like, and then you gotta grind. Like, that's it. And you gotta have a bankroll. Learned a lot of bankroll management in there. I need to make a video about that at some point, but I will, don't worry. There's a lot of things to help you with that. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Good luck at tables.